Hi everyone, so I'm going to show you today the new Turnitin V.2 integration with D2L Brightspace. So right now I'm just on one of my test pages here. If we go into the assignment tab, you'll be prompted with how you want to create an assignment. So if we're going through and we're going to say new assignment, let's say this paper was Macbeth essay. You can add a description or instructions if you like. This page is very similar to how it used to be, except now you'll notice that you can actually check that box that says enable originality check. So what they've done here is, okay, I'll score out of 100. And if you go through the options, you can select whichever options you use if you're using rubrics, etc. What you're going to do is you'll see this new tab over here that says turn it in. So you're going to click the turn it in tab. And here's where you can tell Turnitin what you want it to do with this assignment. So for evaluation, you want to enable grade mark for this folder. What this means is that you will be able to go into Turnitin and you can mark up the student's paper with annotations as you see fit. So let's click enable grade mark for this folder. When you do that, you'll see there is a bit of loading at the top. So don't worry if you see that, that's normal. Transfer of grade. So this is asking you, do you want the grade that you put in Turnitin grade mark to automatically show up in Brightspace, or do you want to do it manually? So I'll leave it as automatic. Originality check. So here's where Turnitin will put through the paper into cross-checking it, cross-referencing with other papers that have already been submitted to Turnitin, with scholarly sources, websites, etc., etc. So you want to make sure you click that. Here's some options that you have. Would you like to let the students in your class see their Turnitin Similarity score? So I always like to show students their score. And then the frequency here. So do you want automatically originality checking on all submissions, or do you want to identify individual submissions? Do you want all your students to go through Turnitin, or do you want some? I always leave it at automatic, but it's up to you. And then you really want to pay attention over here to where it says more options in Turnitin. So you're going to click that. And it'll bring you to a page that looks like this. Doesn't look too interesting, but once you click this optional settings, here's where some really great changes have been made. So on this page here, the options are submit papers to, standard paper repository, or do not store. Make sure you leave it as the first one. Allow submission of any file type. You want to make sure you don't have that. Allow late submissions, that's up to you. Here's the big one. So enable grammar checking using ETS E-Rater technology. So make sure you click this off. What this does is it checks the spelling, it checks the grammar, checks punctuation, mechanics, style of the student's paper, and it highlights all of these different issues that the paper may have. So the options here you have are what level is your student? Obviously, we'll leave it at high school. If you're in elementary school, then you can choose elementary school. What dictionary should they be checking against? So some of our students use words from the US dictionary. Some of our students are using Canadian words, which come from the UK dictionary. I usually click both US and UK. So I know some teachers like the UK version, but you probably don't want to leave it on just US version. So either UK English or both US and UK. I'll click that one. Categories enabled by default. So what do you want the ETS E-Rater to check? Do you want it to check for spelling, grammar, usage? I like it to check them all, so you leave all of those checked. If you have a Turnitin rubric, you can attach it there. What do you want Turnitin to look for when it's scanning your student's paper? So do you want it to look for other submissions that other students have made? So I want that to happen, so I have that checked. Do you want it to check for current and archived web content? Yes. And do you want it to check for those periodicals? So I want all three. And the similarity report. So do you want, here you have a few options here. When it goes through the checking process, do you want students to be able to see the reports immediately and then students cannot resubmit? Do you want the reports to be generated immediately, but do you want students to be able to submit a few times, and then after 3 times, the reports are generated after 24 hours? Or would you like to generate reports only on the due date, so not immediately? So I like to have the reports generated immediately. Would you like to allow your students to view? We've already checked that option in our D2L, so it's grayed out here. Would you like to exclude bibliographies or works cited, exclude any quotes, or exclude any small sources? I usually don't exclude. I'll just go through the originality report myself. Then you click Submit, and now it's saved it on this page. And now you can save and close. And you'll see that our new assignment that we've just made has shown up here. And you can see the little icon beside it is a little different. This just means that Turnitin is enabled for this assignment. So what does it look like in the end? Well, I've already set up a Julius Caesar paper assignment. So if we click into that, I have some test students in my class, and here is a student that submitted a Julius Caesar essay. The similarity was 99% because we've already submitted that to Turnitin. So we can see what happens when we click that. I'll just move this over here. Okay, so this is what it'll look like once you have clicked your student's paper and you're in Turnitin now. So this is very similar to how it was before. You'll see that it's showing that all of this that's highlighted in pink has already been submitted to Turnitin. You can see that by clicking the similarity tools, 99%, and it's submitted to, where is it submitted? Submitted to Education Ministry of Ontario. So someone has already submitted this paper because I've used this as an example before. But what you want to pay attention to is this over here that says ETS. If you click on ETS, it'll show you what it has looked for within the student's paper. So it's looked for grammar. It's found 2 issues with possessive grammar, 1 area to proofread. It has found mechanics. It has found some stylation there, some usage, etc. So what you want to see is you want to take off the similarity, and you just want to have the ETS E-rater. So you can see here it's picked up on the spelling mistake. Comparison, and it's saying that it is highlighted comparison. Obviously should be comparison. What else has it picked up of? It's missing their first argument where they say firstly. It's missing the comma after, so it's picked up on that. Some, of course, is just a tool. It's not 100% perfect, so you still have to go through the paper yourself to look for with a fine comb, but it does pick up, I would say, probably around 80% of mechanical errors. What else do we got here? Cassius did not want to live because he believed that his friend and mate in war was captured by the enemy. What is it saying here? You may need to use an article. You may need to put the before war, his mate in the war. So it's just picking up on a few things here. Really helps you, gives you a nice little skim of the paper for areas for you to delve deeper in. So that's what the new Turnitin integration looks like. Again, make sure you turn that ETS E-rater on so you get all of the different grammar, mechanical, and stylation needs necessary. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you guys again soon. Thanks.